Be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Yeah, so let's talk about Benjamin Shapiro.
Yeah, so Ben had Megyn Kelly on his show the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked his, the typical question that a conservative asks.
On the other side of the aisle, Republicans are now staring down the barrel of having to consider a conviction for Trump in the Senate on impeachment. It is, of course, extraordinarily unlikely that they will garner the number of Republicans votes necessary to actually convict Trump in the Senate. They only got 10 Republican votes in the House to impeach Trump, which sort of brings up a couple of questions. One, what should Republicans do here? And two, what's the real goal of this whole impeachment push? Because I call me cynical, but I have very, very little taste for the idea that our Congress members and our political leaders do anything absent political calculation. I don't think this is a great moral moment for Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, that suddenly they've decided that they're going to stand up for all of the powers of the legislature, and they're going to go after Donald Trump just because they're so insulted by what happened on January 6th. I think they can be insulted by what happened on January 6th. I think that's proper. I think most Americans, the vast majority, were appalled by what they saw on January 6th. But if their standard, and this is what I've been saying all along, there are only two standards they're actually bringing to bear here. One is failure to accept the election results. If that's the standard of impeachment, you can go after the entire Democratic Party for 4 years on that one. And if the other standard for impeachment is incitement, right, incitement to violence, Donald Trump, that's going to be a hard standard to actually push, considering not only that Trump said that you should peacefully protest outside the Capitol, but also that throughout the summer we had Democrats who were using inflammatory rhetoric about America and the police and systemic racism, and $1 to $2 billion in property damage were done across the United States, but that wasn't incitement. So I'm having a tough time seeing how this is about principle per se, even though I know we're supposed to believe it's entirely about principle. For some it is, but I think for a lot of people it's not.
Well, definitely on the legal definition of incitement, they don't have it. They do not have it. It's nowhere close to the legal definition of incitement. And, telling a crowd, which he did say, like, fight, you've got to fight, and even saying to the crowd, we got to march on the Capitol and fight, that's not incitement. That's called politics. People have been doing that from the beginning of time. They've been having sit-ins. They've been, this is the way people effect change. You may not have liked the change he wanted, but that doesn't make it unlawful incitement. That free speech is very, very sliver, narrow exception. Now, you could say abuse of power, right? All he did from the election to the date of the Capitol Hill riot, and I think you're getting close to a better case there. However, this could have all been handled and should have been handled by a censure, which they would have had bipartisan support for, Republicans and Democrats in the House and the Senate, and it would have done what they wanted it to do, which is a bipartisan, more than a slap on the wrist, just a shaming of his behavior and some of the stuff that he was doing. Could have done it. So why impeach? I really do think, because they don't need to remove him, and they knew that. They'd already had the win, right? Just take the W. I think it really was because they want that you can never run again ban to be slapped down on him. They want Trump to not only go away, but to never return again. They're afraid of him and his power. And number two, I think they really want to force the Republicans into either siding with Trump or siding against Trump to sort of foment that civil war within the Republican Party, which is good for the Democrats.
Why the liberals are always at fault.
Yeah. Why, oh, why? Why can they never get it right, huh?
Yeah.
It's okay.
So the question was, he was, so what is the purpose of impeaching Trump now? I mean, what are they going to gain out of it? I mean, why they're blaming Trump for this?
Yeah, is it moral outrage?
Yeah.
Or political calculation?
Yeah, I mean, what is the purpose of this thing?
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Well, I think the Democrats are doing it because some of it's political calculation. That's what I believe, right? It strengthens their hand, it weakens the Republicans, cause that division. But also, you've got to send a message to future presidents that you can't abuse power the way he did, and you can't incite riots and violence, and you can't throw into doubt the kind of like the way elections work in this country. Sow that kind of doubt, and then wonder later on why people behave the way they did on January 6th.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's an example to be set here.
So what he's doing is, he's equating the summer riots with the January 6th riot.
Yep.
At the Capitol, and which all the conservatives do that.
Mm-hmm.
They bring up Nike store getting robbed is the same thing as Capitol buildings windows getting broken.
And having zip ties in your hands, you can,
Zip.
tie up the members of Congress.
Yeah.
Sure. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing, and the point here is what they're trying to make is, well, those things are wrong. So liberals are not saying that was as bad as the January 6th also.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're not advocating for either one of those things.
Sure.
We're saying robbing a Nike store was wrong, but this was even worse.
Yep.
So that's what we were saying. And the second thing is, Donald Trump just didn't say in his speech at that time, that was not the first time that he said that, let's go and fight.
Yeah.
He's been saying that since he started running for president. I mean, you can go back and look at his speeches.
Yeah, he incited violence in his own speeches, his rallies.
Yeah, and he even said it in the debate. What did he say? Proud boys that stand back and stand by.
Uh-huh, that's right.
So
pretty cryptic, huh?
Yeah.
What could that mean? I don't know.
So I mean, there was a message behind his things all along, all the time.
Sure. Yeah. There was this thread throughout his entire campaign. With calls for violence or undermining the election or whatever. We saw in the first, again, we said it before, but his inaugural address talked about election fraud. He was already priming his people to believe that he was the victim, that they were out to get him. And if you believe that, well, who knows what you can do after that.
Yeah, I mean, they believe their guy was telling them they have to fight.
That's right.
And this is the only way that they could get him or keep him in power, which was kind of, dumb. If they are for the Constitution and therefore the law and order, I mean, that's totally.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Honestly, you have to ask that question, because if they're okay with this, and we see defenders of these actions, we hear them, social media, we hear them around us, they're justified. If the election was stolen, then what these guys did was patriotic. They did it for the sake of the country and for the sake of the Constitution. So, and you can convince yourself of anything if you believe strongly enough in your cause.
Yeah. I mean, they believed it.
Yeah.
You can now the videos that the ones that are coming out, you can hear say, "Hey, I think Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz wanted us to do these things."
Mm-hmm.
You can also have an example of that these were the patriots.
Yep.
I mean, everybody else is not.
Yeah, BLM wasn't.
Yeah.
It was Antifa. No, but these guys are the patriots.
Yeah.
And then you see, these people's lives are ruined. A lot of these guys will be going to prison for many years. They have criminal records, and their knight in shining armor didn't pardon them. So
No, I mean
they have nothing to show for it.
they are screaming, saying that we deserve a pardon. And nobody got it.
Nobody got it.
Nobody got it.
So much for that, huh?
I mean, it should be a lesson.
You would think.
Yeah.
Hopefully they take this. But who knows? It's hard to say.
But when do you think these people are going to stop talking about equating these January 6th riots to summer riots? I mean, when is that going to happen?
Well, as long as you can't. Well, when you stop scoring political points with it, then you'll stop doing it. When there's no value, like to what you're doing, doesn't benefit you in any way, then they'll probably stop talking about it. Until then, it'll come up every time. That false equivalence. You have to. It's the whataboutism, right?
What about yeah.
Whataboutism rears its head, and you have to. You can't. Rather than admit your side is full of lunatics, you have to say, well, the other side, which was it was a civil rights, BLM civil rights protest, right? These guys are following a conspiracy theory. They're willing to overthrow everything we have here, the foundation of our government, for a conspiracy theory. Police violence against minorities is not a conspiracy theory. It's well documented in the data.
In the fake videos that you see?
Oh yeah, right. The fake videos.
The fake videos. Oh, yeah.
so those are real events that happen.
Yeah.
Massive voter fraud is not a real event. It is a delusion, and brought about by Donald Trump and propagated by his followers for money. It was a monetary gain.
Yeah.
Nothing else in that. So
Some of those are going to pay big time. Even Rudy Giuliani's being sued now. $1.3 billion.
Yeah, that's the second one. And it looks like maybe they're going to get Mike Lindell as well.
Oh, really?
It looks like it. No, they've threatened to, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that they sent a letter to him.
You better sell some pillows. Or maybe, who knows?
He actually was blaming that he was being canceled.
Yeah, while he was on Fox News.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't get my word out as I'm saying it on Fox News. Sure.
Yeah, he was saying that Bed Bath and Beyond has canceled his orders or something.
Yeah. Was it Colt also, or is that?
Yeah.
Did he have his coupon code at the bottom of the screen?
What was it? Stop the steal?
I think so.
Yeah.
He's probably had several. But yeah, the grift is on for sure. It continues.
And he, even after Joe Biden's inauguration, he's been signing executive orders. Even at that time, he's sitting at Fox News and saying people need to pray and have faith.
Yeah.
That Donald Trump will come back. I mean, how is that? I mean, how delusional are you?
About that delusional? About as delusional as believing that, millions of people voted illegally and multiple states were in collusion to overthrow an election. Yeah, about that delusional. So, yeah, that's what it takes, though. That's part of the cult. When you're in that environment, in that echo chamber, in the bubble, you don't realize how ridiculous you sound. And he doesn't. I'm sure he doesn't. I believe he's sincere and that he believes that it was stolen. I don't think that's a grift. I think for him it is truly the case.
I mean, I believe that too. I think they really do believe that the election was stolen because they thought their president was doing everything right.
Well, when you believe he's chosen by God,
yeah,
of course you're going to believe that. Right. Or if you believe he's the great white hope, it's going to bring you back to
more
dominance.
Like great white elephant.
He was the answer.
Yeah,
he was the answer to the problem of I don't know, relevance. I don't know. I think some people feel like they're being forgotten, they're being marginalized, and he was the person to bring him back. So, unfortunately, wasn't the case. It was, and again, if you were not in the echo chamber, if you weren't in the bubble, you would have realized how unpopular this man was. But if you're not going to get out, if you're just only going to be in one area where everything reinforces your views, you'll never know exactly what the world is thinking or what the country's thinking. Now, we knew how unpopular he was.
Yeah.
We knew. I mean, the polls are pretty obvious, pretty clear. But they didn't accept it.
Well, 50% of the country did agree with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though the silent majority.
Well, this time the silent majority spoke up. And that's why he's no longer president. So,
yeah. I mean, we have another case in South Lake that the people they were fighting, not fighting, but protesting against the school district for bringing diversity education. Yeah. Remember that story?
Yep, I do.
Where these kids had made a video of chanting the N-word.
Yep.
And the girl that was leading it was friends of one of the other girls.
Yeah, I know the story. He just, I don't know. What do you do about that, right?
I mean, and after that, school district decided to have a diversity in education in school, and the silent majority fought back, saying, "We don't want it."
We don't need diversity here.
No.
Yeah, it's a fairly homogeneous place over there. So
I mean, they wanted to keep their South Lake as white lake as possible.
Culturally pure as possible. Yeah. Well, again, it's better to be in isolation sometimes when rather than let outsiders in and mix things up. So, but that's the fear. That's the fear. And
it's always the other people's fault.
Yep.
Other people are the problem.
That's right.
And as long as you can keep it, among your own community, you'll be okay. But that's not the case here. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of the show.
Be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below if you do.
We'll try to answer those comments as many as we can.
Thanks for watching.
Good night.